Welcome, everybody, to Wager Talk Today, and happy freaking New Year! It's 2025, and frankly, I'm glad 2024 is behind us. I'm excited about this year. I think it's going to be one of the best. Let me know what your opinions are. My wish for all of you is happiness and health and a whole lot of gym time. I'll be doing some of that today. We got 3 bowl games going. I'll be watching them all. Ross Benjamin will be joining us right off the bat. He's going to take apart Notre Dame against Georgia. He's also going to look at 2 NBA games. The NBA is in full force today. He's going to take apart the Rockets and the Mavs and the Hawks and the Nuggets. Andy Lang will be joining us. He's got some prop bets. Gianni the Greek will end the show. And somewhere in the middle, we're going to stick the wonderful Art DiCesare from the Westgate, a sports book operator, and we're going to find out where all the money is both today and throughout the weekend. I'm Lawrence Presman. We're getting it started. Let's go. Ross Benjamin joining us right off the bat. How are you, Ross?
I was having a happy New Year, and then, pre-show here, I talked to you, and it didn't become so happy. With a little effort, Prez, you could be a miserable bastard, and it's okay.
Well, you know what? Listen, I can be a miserable bastard without any effort. And I just want to point out that I'm drinking coffee, and Ross commented on how much milk is in my coffee. That's Ross's coffee. Ross, show us that coffee mug. So, people out there, a little lesson that clearly Ross has never learned. You never drink coffee through a ceramic mug, ever. Ever, ever, ever. It makes the coffee go cold very quickly. Now, maybe Ross likes cold coffee to go with his personality. But for the rest of you out there, always drink coffee through a glass mug.
It's like Saddam Hussein telling Hitler that, I don't know. I don't even want to start with the analogies when it comes to you.
That left the building. Joe Ranieri in my ear. Okay, Ross, let's go. Let's get into it. Notre Dame Notre Dame is playing. Who decided to do a show on New Year's Day, Ross? Who? Whose idea was this?
Were you out partying last night, Prez?
So I did a copious amount of edibles.
Okay.
And then I sucked on a pen, like one of those like weed pens all night.
Yeah.
And then I drove home. Very responsible. Notre Dame, Georgia. How do we bet this game?
All right. So I'm going to look at the team total here. Look, this is a Notre Dame team that scored 27 points or more in each of their last 11 games. Whenever there's been a total of 49 or less in Notre Dame games this year, they've scored 28 points or more in their last 6. And with that total of 49 or less, and they averaged 45.8 points scored per game. Now, usually college football, when you see a total in the 40s, like it is today with Georgia and Notre Dame, it means both teams are pretty good defensively or both teams are pretty bad offensively. I think the sports books are looking at both teams are pretty good defensively, but in those types of situations, Notre Dame has had no problem putting up a lot of points in those when it comes to that totals parameter. Georgia, by the way, this isn't the same Georgia defense that we've been used to over the last few years. You take away the 2 games in which they dominated Texas for whatever reason, this Georgia team has given up 20 points or more in 6 of their last 8 games against everybody else not named Texas. And actually, over the last 6 games, they're averaging allowing 24.5 points per game. Here's a big concerning factor for me when it comes to Georgia today. In 2 of their last 3 games, they've been crushed by the opponents on the ground. One of them being Prez's favorite team, the UMass Minutemen, who put up 226 yards rushing against Georgia. And then Georgia Tech followed that up the following week by running for 260 yards or more. Notre Dame, by the way, 193 yards or more rushing in each of their last 6, 10 of their last 13. The Irish will be able to move the ball on the ground in this game, and that's going to open up some play action passing opportunities. Prez, and I am going to take the Notre Dame Fighting Irish over their team total of 21.5.
There we go. Ross Benjamin joining us. Team total over for Notre Dame. Ross, I think you tried to make a slight against me there with that Minuteman concept. I'm okay with it, dude.
No,
I'm okay. I'm okay with I'm a Minuteman. Fine.
Boy, oh boy. With a little
Ross,
effort, you could take things personal. Go ahead.
no effort at all. Ross, what is up with that sweater? Like, is it itching you? Did your grandmother knit it for you back in 1912?
Yeah, she did, as a matter of fact, and I'll eventually turn it into a blanket press, but thank you for asking. But the
I got
sweater
you.
probably
Ross,
costs more than everything that you have on right now combined. So there you have it.
well, actually, who decided to do this show on New Year's Day, Ross?
Hey, I'm just following protocol here. If I'm asked to do something, it's my job to do it.
Well,
So
I'm glad you shaved. Let's get into some NBA, shall we? We got the Rockets playing the Mavericks today. As you can see, I'm setting these games up magnificently. How do we bet it?
well, Houston right now is a 5-point favorite. Look, the Rockets have lost 2 games in a row now, both at home. They haven't lost 3 in a row all season long. They're coming off a 104-100 home loss to Miami. The Rockets, and they shot 39% in that game, which is significant. Why? Because the Rockets this year, following a game in which they shot 40% or worse, have gone 5-0 straight up in ATS. And have won those games by an average of 14.4 points per game. So off a poor shooting performance, the Houston Rockets have been very good this year. Houston's also 6-1 straight up in ATS and division games this year, including a win at Dallas earlier this season. And in those 7 division games in which they went 6-1 straight up in ATS, they outscored the opposition by an average of 13.1 points per game. Houston actually is 7-2 straight up and 6-3 against the spread following a loss this year. So not only have they only lost 2 in a row 2 times this year, they haven't lost 3 in a row at all, and they're very good just coming off a loss. So you look at Dallas. Luka is out. Kyrie Irving is questionable. Klay Thompson is questionable with an illness. At 66.8 points per game. Now, the latter 2 may play, but I just can't believe they'll take any kind of unnecessary risk with more than half a season to go, meaning the Dallas Mavericks. I'm going to go with a relatively healthy Houston Rockets team and lay the 5 over Dallas, Prez.
Ross, love having you with us, man. Even though we tend to make fun of each other, that's a sign of deep respect.
That's okay.
Okay.
Hey, we got to entertain, man.
Yeah. Okay. So now I've said my niceties. So the Denver Nuggets have pissed me off, Ross. Between me and you, I'm not going to mention this live on air, but when I bet on them, they suck. When I bet against them, they're incredible. When I bet the over in the games they play in, they go under, and vice versa. This team has pissed me off, and I wish them nothing but badness today. How do we bet them?
Well, I guess
Denver.
I could accommodate you with my pick then. And yeah, I mean, we've all had those teams that have been an enigma to us that we can't seem to be on the right side of, whether it be a side or a total. And my suggestion to anybody out there, what Prez just described, it's frustrating, is just stay away from that team for a while. That's the best policy. This is an Atlanta team, 4-0 straight up in ATS in their last 4, 3 of those contests, they were an underdog. They won those 4 games by 15 points per game, so they're playing very well. And that's indicative of their offensive production in those 4 contests, averaging 128.5 points per game and shooting 51% from the field. While the Denver Nuggets, Prez's favorite team, their last 3 games, they're allowing 130 points per contest, and opponents have shot a combined 52% against them in those 3 contests. Denver is just 3-7 against the spread in non-conference games this year. Their defense in those games has been horrific against Eastern Conference teams for whatever reason, whether it be a lack of familiarity or just not being emotionally ready to play. They're giving up 128 points and allowing those opponents to shoot 49%. In those contests, Atlanta 4-2 straight up and 5-1 against the spread as a road dog of 6 or less this year. So they've done very good in this role. The one caveat that I have to bring up, folks, because you got to love the NBA, their best player, meaning Atlanta, Trae Young, is listed as questionable with an Achilles injury. But we've seen very little line movement right now. It's hovered around 5 or 5.5. That would lead me to believe he's going to play. But this is one of those situations. I don't see this line going down, if anything, going up, because possibly Young will be out of the lineup. But I still think without him, Atlanta would be fully capable of covering a number, especially a higher one, if he's not going to play. So I would wait on this one, folks, to maybe a couple hours before game time before making your bet, because you may get a better line.
Yeah, poor baby. Poor little NBA player has a boo-boo. Ross Benjamin, everybody. Ross, I am appreciative of you joining us. I mean, look, I would have picked at least 7 people I saw first on at the start of year than you. Just laying that out there. But this is how it has begun. There's nothing we can do. 2025 has started with you and I staring into each other's eyes first. How do you feel about that?
I think that you should form a union at WagerTalk, because you've been complaining a lot about doing today's show. Other than that, I feel pretty good. I have all 3 winning sides in today's college football playoffs, and college football playoffs have been very good to me since 2022, 35-20, 64%. Actually, it's college football postseason, which includes the playoffs and national championship games. So done very well over the last 3 years, including 9-5 this year, 3-1 in the college football playoffs thus far. College football overall, 143-98, up over $10,500. That's number 1 over the last 2 years at WagerTalk in terms of money earned. Take advantage of some of the special offers we got going on right now. Folks, I'm going to have a huge day today in the college football playoffs. So jump aboard, wt.buzz/RB. Prez, it is always an absolute pleasure to be with you. You always make my day.
Ross, lots of love. Get the hell out of here. Ross Benjamin, everyone, going to change that woolly sweatshirt of his. He's probably off air having a scratch right now. We have an incredible promo going. It starts today. It is, we just had it up there. How would you like a free month? Basically, you buy a 90-day all-access pass to any of those handsome guys at the top in that picture, or anybody else on Wager Talk. You buy 90 days, you get another 30 days for free. That's a $299 value. So buy any handicapper you want in Wager Talk for 90 days. They're all access pass. You get 30 days for free. Yeah, so I did not have a very good day yesterday, to say the least. I'm curious what you guys in the chat room thinks and what you guys watching this video think. I have always been an incredibly streaky handicapper. I mean, I go on a 10-1 run in NFL over the weekend. I win 8 straight NHL plays, and then I go 0-6. Like, Would you guys rather go 3-2, 2-3, 4-1, 1-2, 2-1, 1-2, 3-2, or would you rather go 10-1, 0-6, 8-0, 2-7? My way can kill a human being. But that's how it has always been. Anyway, terrible day yesterday, but I do have 3 bowl games up today, hoping for a big bounce back day. Let's bring the great Andy Lang in. And Andy, how are you? Did you have fun last night? And who the hell decided to do a show today?
I don't know, but you know what? I think I can claim that we have the first win at WagerTalk for 2025. We already cashed a darts play this morning. So let's go 2025. Hey, I'm on pace for plus 800 units if I can just keep this pace up here, Prez, for the new year. So very excited. I didn't do much last night. Really nice dinner with the wife, but I run an audio video production company, so it's kind of a work day. Today I have to go break down a show from a concert we did last night. So it's the New Year's is not a big party for me because most of the time my company is doing something with it. But we're ready to give out some winners.
There we go. David Haverly writes, my wife said her New Year's resolution is not being married to a loser. I got to start this year off with a winner or I could lose the house. David,
This is
good
easy.
luck with that, bro. Okay, go. Give him a win. Give him one. We need to be there for David.
Yeah, if you already won a bet this year, then you're done. You don't need to make any more bets. 365 days from now, you can say, bang, I won.
Plus, I will say this, Andy, and this is between me and you here. David, divorce is amazing. Like, it is one of the greatest things, if not the single greatest thing you'll ever do in your life. Like, literally, the reason to get married is to have the feeling of divorce, the shackles, how they leave, the chain that is tied to you, how it dissipates. The word I use is youthify. You literally get 10 more years back on your life just by getting divorced. So don't worry, David. Leave the woman. Plus, she's with a loser. Who would want to be with a guy who's a loser?
I will tell you, Prez, also, the divorce party is more fun than the wedding party.
Yeah.
A divorce party
Divorce
can last
rocks,
for months.
dude. Yeah, months. Dude, my divorce party is still going, and I'm 10 years in. Okay, Andy, let's get some prop bets. Mike is yours.
All right, let's do it. Let's start in the NBA. And yes, Bill, I see you in the chat. We'll talk tennis. Let's start with Colin Sexton over 3.5 assists. We were playing Colin Sexton over his 3 points earlier in the year, but he's moved now to assists. He's gone over 6 games in a row. And what's big is he's averaging 11 potential assists in those 6 games in the last 6. When you're getting 11 potential assists and the number is at 3.5, this is an absolute must play. He averaged 5.7 potential assists in the previous 14 games. He's becoming much more of a facilitator than a scorer for Utah, and the Knicks give up 26 assists per game. D'Angelo Russell, it says under 1.5. The number is actually 2.5 made threes. 100% my fault. I typed the wrong thing in there. But Prez, this is his first game with this new team. He's not even starting. He's shooting 33% from threes this year. He's coming off the bench to spell Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons is the facilitator. He's been going over his assists. So I think D'Angelo Russell's coming off the bench to pass the ball. I can't imagine him coming in and just firing up a bunch of three-pointers. So I'm going to take his under 3. He's not shooting the ball well. He's not even getting the start. And I know D'Angelo Russell could be kind of a selfish guy, but I don't know if he comes in off the bench and starts firing away a bunch of threes. This number is way too high. So I'll take the under on Russell.
Eddie, talking about under threes, how is is it Joel Embiid? No. Who was?
Yeah, Joel Embiid's been going under. Jalen Johnson for Atlanta.
No. It was Bam Adebayo.
Oh, Bam Adebayo. Yes, he's gone like 6 games in a row without making a 3. He's ice cold.
So that trend is still in play.
Still in play, but the big one with Bam is 25 games in a row against the Orlando Magic without hitting a three-pointer. For his entire
That's
career.
what it was. That's what it
Yeah,
was
it's against Orlando.
Orlando
No idea
Magic.
why, but it's a great one.
So, college football, you've got a prop bet for us? Go.
Yeah, I don't talk hardly at all about college football props, but this one jumped off the page just on DraftKings. Will Howard over 252 passing. So in that Michigan game, Prez, you'll remember, Ohio State got away from their big explosive passing game. They tried to run, and he ended up throwing for 175 yards. I'm kicking myself because I thought they're not going to make that mistake against Tennessee. What happened? 311 yards passing. So they know what their strength is. It's getting out and getting the balls in the hands to those explosive wide receivers. And earlier this year against Oregon, Prez, he had a season high in his completions. He had a season high in attempts and a season high in his yards, 326. I look, the weather is going to be perfect out there. I think Ohio State knows what they need to do. They're going to have to make this a track meet against Oregon. This game probably is going to be a track meet. I think this number is entirely too low. I'll take over on his passing.
Boom. Will Howard over in passing yards. Bill Sandoval writes, Andy's props are incredible. That rhymes with edible. I'm just going to have a moment now. Okay. Sorry, I was thinking about last night. Andy, we spoke about Sabalenko yesterday. My brother has a crush on her. My brother's private chef, yes, he has one of those, has a serious crush on her. And although you aren't crushing on her physically, you have a financial crush on her.
That is very, very well said. Yes, Sabalenka is absolutely fantastic to bet on, especially when she's going up against players that are of much lesser caliber. She does not screw around, and you see this in tennis all the time. Like, you have this big favorite, they mess around, lose the first set, get broken in the second, and you're sweating this out. No, not Sabalenka. Prez, in her last 32 wins, 26 of them have been 2-0. Like, she drops the hammer when she wins, and she did it in her last her first match of the year, and actually maybe in the last match of 2024. She won 6-4 barely in the first set, and then she wins 6-0 in the next. So she's cruising. She's playing Putintseva, who she beat in October. Sabalenka to win 2-0, especially in the first couple rounds of these tournaments, is just fantastic value. So this match starts at like 5 a.m. Because they're playing down in Australia. So if you're looking for it, it's technically probably going to be tomorrow at 5 a.m. American time.
Andy, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm feeling like that's the David divorce prevention play.
It's solid, man. If you just play that every tournament, you're going to come out ahead. And sometimes it's really juicy, so you got to use it as a parlay piece. I don't care. I'm going to figure out a way to make money off of Sabalenka in the first few rounds of the tournaments, whether it's a parlay, whether it's playing straight up. She does not screw around when she's playing these lesser quality opponents.
Andy Lang, everyone, 9-1 run after he cashed last night. Number one lifetime in cross-sport parlays and an outstanding 2024, up 128 units. Jesus, Andy, way to go, dude. That's so sick. So sick.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Anything else, brother?
Yeah, another NHL best bet is up. There's only one game tonight, and it's great because it's a guy that we've been betting on for quite a few days now. So grab that NHL best bet, like Prez said, 9-1, and we have our very first cross-sport parlay of 2025. We're number one lifetime of those. We just love our cross-sport parlays. It's a golf and NFL one. Take advantage of that. Our goal for 2024 was plus 100 units. We got over that at plus 128. So that makes it 2 years in a row we're in the top four each year, and that brings us to number one all sports at plus 218 units last 2 years. Really proud of the work that we've been doing and looking forward to cashing more winners.
Killer stuff. Andy Lang, everyone. Now that is a guy that I would use that promo code on. You buy 90 days of Andy Lang's plays, you get 30 free. I would tell you, I think honestly, guys, I think if I was a client, and I was okay betting prop bets and dart bets just to make money because money is important, I think I'd use that. I think I'd buy Andy for the 90 days. I honestly don't know if I could come up with a better person to purchase. And I apologize to all the other people on the website because, man, Steve Merrill, Ben Burns, Gianni, Marco. I mean, Marco, whoa. Marco just came off of 2024 from the gods, and I think I'd still purchase Andy. Plus, his stuff is damn fun. Art DiCesare joining us, and men, are we lucky to have this guy? I mean, are you kidding me? New Year's Day, Art DiCesare. What did you have? 20, 30 women attack you last night? You still made time to do this show?
Prez, you're one of the best. You're one of the greatest. I'm happy to be here. I'm always gonna make time for you, buddy.
Oh, Art, hugs all the way around. Guys, hit that like button. Are you kidding? Show Art some love. Let's get into college football, Art. We got a game starting in 30 minutes, 31 minutes. Texas and Arizona State. Then we have Oregon against Ohio State. And then Georgia at Notre Dame ends the night. What are you seeing on those three games in particular? And does Art have a bet he'd like to give us?
Obviously, the big three playoff games are going to rule the day. There's a lot of, obviously NBA, college basketball, the one NHL game, but these are going to be the focus of the day. Texas and Arizona State is interesting. When we opened the game, we opened Texas 14, total of 52. That total has yet to move. We've gone maybe half a point up, half a point down, so really nothing on the total. We got as low as 12 on Texas. So we saw pretty good early money coming on Arizona State. Now we've seen the buy come back on Texas. We're now at 13.5. That's going to be pretty good split action for us. I'd still say it's about 60-40 Arizona State tickets and money. So we'll probably need Texas in the game. But obviously that could change with first half, second half, and all the in-game stuff. Ohio State, Oregon. We open Ohio State a slight favorite, -1, total of 54. We've seen really good sharp money and public money come in on the over. They played a 32-31 game in Oregon. A lot of people think that can be replicated with the points. That's why you've seen the total go up 2 points, 256. Obviously, Ohio State has moved from 1 to 2.5 for us. It's been pretty good, like 2.5 to 1 ticket count and money count on Ohio State. We'll need Oregon in the game. I don't find a lot of people, even sharp respected people, who want to come in and take Oregon. Maybe they'll take a shot with them on the money line because it maybe gets a little too thick, and they say, hey, let's take a shot with that. Notre Dame or Georgia. We opened Notre Dame -1, quickly flipped to Georgia -1.5. Total was 44. It's gone up to 45.5. So you've seen over money coming on there. It's really not sharp over money. It's just really the public and kind of the market moving that way. So it's not like we've seen a really respected guy come in and take over 44 or over 44.5. That number's just kind of climbed up. After all the early Georgia money, you started to see the Notre Dame sharp money come back. +105 on the money line, +1.5. We were sitting at pick all yesterday and this morning, and now we have flipped back to Notre Dame on our opener. Notre Dame -1. We believe they should be the favorite in this game, and that is the game that I like. I like Notre Dame. Obviously, it's basically a pick'em game. I just like them on the money line.
There you go. That's great stuff, Art. Thanks for doing this, brother. Let's talk some NFL. And right off the bat, Art, I want to talk about this -17.5 from Baltimore. Are you taking... I mean, it's not like Baltimore has to win this football game here. I think they could be okay if they don't. You taking any bets on the Cleveland money line situation here, or New Orleans money line, or Kansas City? When do you ever get Kansas City as a big dog on a money line?
Yeah, when you talk about those three, the one thing I can report on those three games is the Saints took money at 14.5. When we were as high as 14.5, We saw money there. We saw money at 14. We're now 13 on the game. Week 18, last week of the season, is always the most difficult for us. First of all, we have to tread lightly on some of the games when it comes to just limits. Some games are not going to have normal NFL limits
Interesting.
because they're just now. Don't get me wrong, Prez. As we get closer to kickoff and we open for business on Sunday, you'll get back to normal limits. But to just give normal limits on opening numbers like we do all year on some of these lower tier games, you just can't do it. It's just something that we have to protect ourselves a little bit. Obviously, there's about 4, 5, 6 games where we feel these are teams that are going to play. We can offer the limits.
Oh, tell us those. Tell us those teams. Which teams are going to play?
So obviously, you're going to have the Sunday night game. We all know that. Lions and Vikings. You're going to have the NFC South game. So the Panthers game, the Falcons game. We believe those are games that the teams are going to play and want to perform in. We also feel the same way about both NFC North games, both Saturday games. We feel that obviously the Ravens want to go out there and win to clinch their division. And then obviously the night game with the Steelers. The Bengals are still playing for stuff. They want to win and then put pressure on the Broncos to go win the next day. Now, don't get me wrong. The Chiefs are playing no one, and the Broncos are an 11-point favorite off an opener of 9. But we still feel good about that. Both the Steelers and Bengals will be playing in that game. Very hard to find, a lot on Sunday. There's a lot of lower tier games. But once again, as we get closer to kickoff, we'll be a lot more comfortable taking limit bets on those games.
Okay, one last NFL game, Art, and we do have to keep these shows a little tighter than previous. Obviously, we got to talk Minnesota and Detroit. Detroit is now -3 across the board. I'm guessing Westgate has joined there. The total, though, originally 52.5. I got that, by the way. I was able to bet 52.5 to the up. Then we went all the way to 58. It dropped down to 55.5. Now there's 3 different lines out there. 56, 56.5, and a 57. Where are you side and total wise? Do you expect smart money to be betting under because it's so high? Let's go deep into this one particular game.
Yeah, and obviously it's the most important game of the week. This is going to set up everything in the NFC. Just look at the side first, Prez. We took pretty good money on the Vikings at +3.5. Public's going to be on Detroit -3. They're going to be on Detroit, the money line as well. Detroit money line, even with the tight spread, will probably close out a lot of people's money line parlays on the day. Detroit has been a public team all year. Public has really not liked Minnesota. When the Sharps do bet Minnesota or bet a Minnesota game, they usually take Minnesota. The total is fascinating. You're right. I believe we're 56.5 on the total, and it's obviously a total, like you said, that was super low. And we've always talked about this. When you get to an apex of a line, whether it's 57, 57.5, 58, which is basically the highest you're going to see in an NFL game, you're going to see the sharp bettors take the under. Public always wants to bet the over. They feel the offenses are good enough to get over, even at a high number. But the sharp, respected guys will find the apex number, and they'll start betting it down. And you're right, Prez, by kickoff, are we going to get back to 52, 53? No. But you could see that really shoot down and probably get back into the 55, 54.5, 55.5 range, depending on the book. That can absolutely happen.
There we go, Art DiCesare. And hey, Art, 2018, the Rams played the Chiefs. The total was 63.5.
I believe that was like a Mexico City game, right?
It went over.
Pretty sure. No, I remember it. Oh, yeah.
It went over. Brother, man, thank you, dude. I'm so appreciative, especially on New Year's Day. Just awesome to have you with us. What do you got to promote?
Listen, Prez, man, you're the best. I love that you guys have me on every week. And, I look forward to being on as much as I can, obviously, in 2025. Listen, guys, come down to the Westgate. I'll say this, Prez. I met a lot of really great people over the last couple of days who were in town for New Year's. They said they love Wager Talk. They love all the shows. They were giving so many of the Wager Talk people a lot of love and a lot of credit. So that's obviously a lot of credit to you guys. And, as always, come down to the Westgate. Come say hi. I love, popping out and giving everyone a couple of minutes. And listen, let's have a big 2025, my friend.
Thank you. You too, brother. Be good. Art DiCesare, everybody. Guys, again, please hit that like button. Greatly appreciated. Gianni, the Greek, joining us right now, right here on the best daily sports betting show on the planet. Dude, that's 2 days in a row with the Philly hat. What's up with that, man? Where's the San Francisco hat?
I got to represent. My friends right now are watching as we speak in Philadelphia. They're ready betting these playoff games, New Year's Day. So I had to represent. Shout out to the boys back in Philly. Delco, start off the year winning. I'm excited.
I will tell you this, Gianni. A couple of quick things. Number one, Philadelphia is a gorgeous town.
Love that city.
Just a beautiful, beautiful city. Number two, it is the only place where many fights broke out in the middle of a Grateful Dead concert. Something is
nowhere
wrong
else
with
will
that
that happen. Nowhere else will that happen. You're absolutely right.
How is that even freaking possible, bro? That is like a fight breaking out like during an orgy. Like,
it's Philly. They're always ready to go, always ready to throw down. Oh, and like it's no big deal. It's just that's how it is. It's that kind of town, man. That kind of town.
Well, it is a beautiful town. I've been to it many, many times. And I love, the last thing is, I love their sports entertainment complex. It's genius having all three
right
of the main stadiums right next to each other with the restaurants and everything. Shout out to your friends in Philly. Okay, where are we going in these 3 college football games?
All right, and I'm going to share as much information as I can because I told you I am low volume. It's got to be as not just 14, 18, 24 carat to be released. So here's what I got. Arizona State's a sharp play. Arizona State at 13 or better is the number that the groups were looking for. As far as the public goes, you got good two-way action. So the risk for the books is on the Arizona State side. It's mostly from the sharp bettors. They also, though, went under team total. Arizona State under team total in the first half. They went under 10 at minus 120. And I can also share a prop for that game as well. Arizona State, Cam Scattlebo, Skattebo, under 105.5 rushing yards, under 105.5 and 105 rushing yards, up to minus 120. I like Arizona State as well. I think Texas is one of those teams that just hasn't been able to win by margin throughout this season. In fact, coming down the stretch, that's exactly what we've seen for them. Now, can they turn it up in this bowl game, in the playoff game? Sure. On paper, are they double digit better than Arizona State? Sure. But again, they haven't been able to prove that on the field. For me, I've passed. I haven't bet it for Prez, but if I have to bet it, I do like the Arizona State side. Oregon, Ohio State, great matchup. Here's where we have a little bit of conflict. Everybody agrees on the over. I know that Raz put it out earlier at 52. I believe his group got down 52 or 53. Since then, another group betted at 54, 54.5. That's why we're looking at 56s this morning. The public continues to bet it over regardless of how that number moves from 52, 53, all the way to 55 or 56. Personally, I have not been able to bet that because I just think once the number moves that significantly, I don't see the value. Instead, maybe peak at the first half because the first half also did get bet over. But the one team total that did get bet under is Oregon. First half, Oregon under 14 team total. I like the Ohio State side. I have a future on Ohio State side. My subscribers have a 5% on Ohio State. I think at plus 500. The question I have to answer is, am I going to hedge? Do I buy Oregon up to plus 3 and try to hit maybe even a middle or hedge the bet? That's where I stand on that game. But I like Ohio State. I've been talking about them the entire year. I think they're the best team in college football. Power rating wise, they're right there with Notre Dame. Speaking of Notre Dame, that's where we've seen the biggest change because sharp bettors did get down on Georgia, Prez, early. That's why Georgia was a favorite over the higher ranked Notre Dame team. But as I touched on, the bettors haven't spoken yet. Remember, it was the sharp bettors that got out ahead. It wasn't the people that are betting today. Those that are betting today, they're betting Notre Dame. No surprise. So that's going to help balance the risk for the books. So you have sharp bettors on Georgia early, and the public now helping balance that out. I'm sure there's some sharps that like Notre Dame as well. Guys I respect have them as the highest power rated team in college football. So I can see that. But it's also the public that's helped balance that one out. And finally, I want to add this. Because I have access to looking at back-ended books, I saw a Square account that the gentleman bet a lot of money. I don't want to call anyone out because I don't even know whose account it is. But this gentleman bet that game over, Ohio State-Oregon game that I'm talking about. But here's what he did. He bought it down to 53.5. Because it's up to 56, this gentleman said, you know what? I'm not going to bet that over 55.5 or 56. I'm going to get the number that the betting syndicates got. I'm going to go over 53.5. Unfortunately, this gentleman or this lady are laying 150 for that privilege. So take a step back. This is what that bettor is saying. They're willing to lay 150, Prez. So they're saying at 150, the break even 60%. So they're saying there's greater than a 60% chance this goes over 53.5, but they don't believe there's greater than a 52.5% chance that it goes over 55 or 56. Like, in what world does that even make sense? That you think it's greater than 60 that it goes over 53.5, but not greater than 52.5 that it goes over 55.5. Again, that is the misconceptions and the mistakes that recreational bettors make over and over and over again. And that's what I love to touch on. And I appreciate being able to come on the show and not just give out picks and information, but that education. Don't buy points like that. You don't have over 53, sir. You have over 56. It just looks like 53 on your ticket because you laid minus 150 for that 53.5. In fact, you have worse than 56 than minus 110. So yeah, don't be buying points like that. Don't be laying those 130s, 140s, 150s to buy points. In 2025, let's break that habit, brother. Let's break that habit.
Gianni, wow. One of our
I
listeners.
love you. Thank you for giving me the stage like that, Prez. You're the fucking man. Thank you. Excuse me for cursing too.
Dude, firstly, I'm not, and I say this all the time, I don't discriminate against words. Like, if words have a feeling, why should that word
mean more? Yes.
Feel so bad?
Yes.
I love that word. Okay, Gianni, that was awesome. B Daddy wrote, good point, Gianni. I do agree. I admit slightly that I zoned out. I was making a bet. I was actually
good for
physically making a bet while you were yapping. Anything real quick in the hoops tonight?
Anything else? Yes.
Go.
Yes, sir. I got 4 college basketball bets that I placed for these groups. I didn't release any. Again, low volume this year. Here's the college basketball. 672 Wofford minus 1.5, 2. I believe that went off. 674 Western Carolina plus 10.5 and plus 10. 676 Pittsburgh minus 14. 692 under 156 Chattanooga Mercer. And in NHL, New Jersey Devils up to minus 120. That's what I got in NHL, in college basketball, in college football. And again, I wish everyone the best 2025 ever. You included, Prez, and start doing damage today, brother. Enjoy this weekend. Enjoy the rest of the games. And thank you again for sharing your time and having me on.
Gianni the Greek. Gianni, we're going to talk hopefully tomorrow about this low volume approach. Thanks for doing this, man. What a fun show. Guy Griffith, Little Bull, IED, Wash Redskin, Natural 8, Waj, DT, all of you guys, Craig Wood, Justin, Brotherly Love. Guys, thank you for joining us on New Year's Day. Just awesome. It's so great to see you all. Let's have a killer day today. Great start to 2025. Thanks, everybody, for watching Wager Talk Today. We'll see you guys tomorrow, 12 Eastern Time.